This foundation GCSE topic is going to be looking at estimation. If this does come up, and it does fairly often, it'll definitely be in paper 1, so that's your non-calculator paper. They're not really that tough questions, but a lot of people go wrong on them, okay? And that's because they don't really understand what the word estimate means. Estimate means that the examiner's not expecting you to get an answer which you get on the calculator. So if I work that problem out perfectly, and I got an actual answer the calculator showed me, it's going to be different to what my estimated answer should be. The whole idea of estimate is to make more difficult numbers into easier numbers so that we can work with them and roughly guess what the answer is going to be, okay? So you're not going to get an exact answer. You want something which is pretty close to what the exact answer would be. First thing, a lot of words here, so we're going to highlight the important bits. Year 11 pupils have been asked to estimate the cost for each pupil, okay? This is important, each pupil, because we're looking to get it per person, okay? So we're looking to get the three things, the packed lunch, the tickets, and the bus per person before we can work out what the total is. There are 98 pupils in year 11. A packed lunch for each pupil costs $3.95. Now you can see the packed lunch thing is already per person because it says each pupil. The tickets and the buses, however, are not. If you think about it, it's not going to be £915 for the tickets per person. Yeah, no one would go on the trip. And the same for the bus. Estimate then the cost per pupil for the trip to the nearest pound. You must show all your workings. Right. First thing I'd advise you to do is actually annotate the information you've been given and estimate round sensibly, okay? 98 pupils is basically 100 pupils, and 100 pupils is a lot easier to work with without a calculator than 98 pupils would be, okay? So that will get you 1 mark. Packed lunch for each pupil costs $3.95. Now, as I said, we don't need to do any calculations on it because it's already per pupil, but if I want to round it, because I'm estimating, £3.95, if you think roughly what is that, is £4, okay? So I'm going to call that £4 per pupil. Next one, total cost of the tickets to the concert. This is for everyone now. So for all them 100 pupils, 98 pupils, whatever it is, they all together, if you add up all their money, have to pay £915. Not a nice number to work with, so I'm going to round it. You've got a choice here. I personally round it to £900, but you can also round it to 1,000, okay? You can see you can be quite flexible in the way you round it, okay? So round it to numbers which are nice. You won't want to round that to 920 or 910 because that's still not that easy to work with, okay? So you can round to the nearest 100 if you're working with hundreds of pounds, or to the nearest pound if you're working with small amounts of money, just so that the numbers become easier. Last one, the buses cost £290. We're going to round that one nice and easy to £300. Right. Also, something which is worth taking note of is the top sentence. I'm not really going to do this in my answer, but obviously you're expected to do it. It's QWC question. So as you're doing this, you need to use subheadings and you need to communicate, so little short sentences, what you're doing as you go, okay? So make sure you do that because you will lose 2 marks even if your maths is spot on. Right, first thing we're going to do is I'm going to write down the lunch. The cost of the lunch is £4 and we've already established this is per person, right? And I'm going to put a tick next to that statement. I've already done that. That's already per person, which is what I want, so that's fine. Next one, total cost of the tickets. Now I've rounded it to £900. You can use the 1,000 if you want. I'm going to use the £900. So I'm going to write that down. Tickets equal £900. Right, but it's £900 between the 100 pupils. So I've got to share that 900 between the 100 pupils. To share something, I normally talk about divide. So 900 divided by 100. So it's going to cost £9 per pupil. If you use the 1,000, then what you'd get £10 per pupil. I'm going to take that statement off. Last one then, the buses cost £290, or as we rounded it, 300. So the buses equal 300, and again, same way what I did with the tickets, I've got to share that 300 between the 100 pupils. So 300 divided by 100 is £3. That is the difficult bit. Okay, you've rounded, you think sensibly about what you're doing, and then we're going to get the final answer. If you come across, say you found that the tickets, you've worked it out and it comes to £400 each, try to think about what the actual trip would cost sensibly, okay? They don't put trips in which are not realistic. They tend to be realistic. No one is going to pay £400 per person for a ticket, okay, for a school trip. So you should be having sensible answers when you're doing your work-ins. Last thing then, estimate the cost per pupil for the trip. So imagine it's one person, they have to pay all 3 of these to go on the trip. So it's the lunch, plus the tickets, plus the bus. So it's going to be £4 plus £9 plus £3, and that all comes to £16, and that will give you the correct marks. Last thing then, as I've said, this question I think was out of 7. So for getting to the £16, you'd only get 5 marks. No matter how good that was, you have to have your QWC in there to get the full 7 marks. It's always the last 2 marks of the question, okay? So again, go on, annotate as you go in, highlight, think about it sensibly. It is a real life problem, and remember to put your QWC in at the end.